So look, there are times when sports can be poopy, like really poopy. However, this isn't one of them. The face of the New York Yankees, Aaron Judge, shakes hands with this Blue Jays fan. Why exactly? Well, because on May 3rd, Judge hit a homer at the Rogers Center in Toronto. This Jays fan caught the ball, celebrated for maybe a second, then saw a young Yanks fan. Without hesitation, he gave the 9-year-old the home run ball. After doing such a kind gesture, Rodriguez, the youngin', in shock, hugged the man. Many saw this as what baseball is all about. In the dugout the following day, the Yankees invited Rodriguez, who you can clearly see is passionately taking it all in. The ever-so-kind Jays fan's name is Mike Lanzalata. This is where it gets really great. Judge, seeing Rodriguez's emotions, bends down and talks with the youngster. When he asks who his favorite player is, Rodriguez points right at Judge.
Oh, it's a special moment. Even more excited to meet Derek, the fan who caught it. Blue Jays fan, have that moment with the young Yankee fan. That's a moment that's been seen around the world now.
Big ups to Newsday's Eric Bolin for capturing Judge's words as he reflects to the media.
Hey. 2 jerseys for you from him himself.
No way!
From George Springer.
You heard the Jays staffer. Outfielder George Springer, on his own accord, gifted the fan 2 signed jerseys. Just awesome stuff. Speaking on the home run ball he caught, Lanzalata said, "I was overwhelmed. I was like, there you go, kid." He was like, "I love you so much, man," and was crying. It almost brought me to tears. It was special. Rodriguez bursting into happy tears and bear hugging Lanzalata has been shared millions of times by various fans, held up as an emblem of the best parts of baseball fandom and camaraderie, an act of kindness that transcended team allegiances. For some people, it might just be a ball, but for me, it means way more, Rodriguez told the Star. The Athletic wrote Rodriguez and his dad Caesar are huge Yanks fans. They scored tickets to every game of the 3-game set, and Derek's favorite player is indeed Judge. Before the series, his dad gave him a brand new Yankees shirt, Judge 99, written on the back. He's worn it to both games. When the home run ball landed in the stands, Lanzalata knew what he had to do with the ball. He made the kid a promise. When it came to me and I picked it up, and I was just like, wow, like, I gotta give it to this kid, Lanzalata said. It's his player, his t-shirt. Even an inning later, Derek clutching the ball with both hands was a little bit emotional while talking about the special souvenir he said he'll keep in his bedroom and surely treasure for the rest of his life. "I'm really excited," said Derek, a grade 4 student. "My dream is to meet Aaron Judge, and well, I'm really happy that I got the ball from his home run." Derek had been wishing Judge would hit a home run his way during the game. That's what I literally said. After the moment was caught on live television, Lanzalata's phone blew up with texts and phone calls. He was sent a few pictures too, and he shared them with Caesar, who called Lanzalata a friend for life. A Rogers Center staff member also delivered a special Blue Jays gift package to Lanzalata in recognition of his sportsmanship. He was blown away by that gesture and by the overwhelming response to his small act of kindness, one that clearly had a huge impact on the young fan. After Derek received his baseball on Tuesday, he asked his dad a question. I said, "If you were young and the same thing happened to you but with a home run off of Derek Jeter, what would you do?" And he said, "I would cry the same. And fun fact, I was named after Derek Jeter," the young Rodriguez said. Many have doubted them. However, this past weekend was a milestone for women's boxing. Puerto Rico's Amanda Serrano and Ireland's Katie Taylor was the first female headliner in Madison Square Garden's 140-year history.
We built this as the biggest female fight of all time. And it became one of the biggest fights in boxing today.
At the post-fight press conference, Matchroom Boxing's own Eddie Hearn, who serves as Taylor's promoter, did not mince words in his assessment, which we agree with.
It was just an amazing feeling, and you had 2 women main eventing a sold-out MSG. Who would have thought that?
For both boxers and the sport, it's been a long time coming. Amanda Serrano, on the right, is a 7-division world champ with 30 knockouts, the second most all-time. Katie Taylor, a 2012 Olympic gold medalist, came in as the undisputed lightweight champion. She has never lost. Throughout each sport, women have been trying to, pardon the pun, ring the bell and bring attention to their respective skill set. We have seen the inequality span across this industry. Recall the Oregon Ducks' Sedona Prince, a relentless fighter for women's rights, showing the disparity between what the men had and what the women had up until the NCAA tournament of 2021. All they asked for from the gatekeepers like NCAA President Mark Emmert was a chance to be given the same media coverage and airing of games as the men. The Washington Post wrote of a virtual meeting that took place where the NCAA distributed their own fact sheet to news outlets. They concluded, the women's tournament loses millions every year and has to be subsidized by the men's event. This past year, the entire tournament was a ratings bonanza. Average viewership for the tourney increased 16% compared with 2021. The UConn-South Carolina championship game competed with the Grammys and still peaked at 5.91 million viewers. That's 18% more than last year, 30% more than 2019, making it the most watched women's championship since 2004. And what do you know? ESPN broadcast the entire tournament nationally for the first time, and the ratings were massive, which continues the trend. Just give them a chance. The WNBA saw a viewership increase of 51% compared to the 2020 regular season, but it did not stop there. Striking while the iron's hot, ESPN saw their coverage of the WNBA draft average 403,000 viewers, a 20% increase from last year's draft. Draft coverage peaked at about 463,000 viewers, demonstrating the league's continued momentum with ratings and capital. Why exactly? Because the network's committed to broadcasting the games. The Sports Business Journal reported the league would broadcast a record number of playoff games, all of which will be seen as part of a collaboration between Google, a league changemaker and presenting partner of the WNBA playoffs, and Disney Networks.
I think that's the best part about this journey, isn't being able to inspire young girls, inspire the next generation, and I think both myself and Amanda have broken down so many barriers over the last few years.
Which brings us back to Saturday's historic fight. In her home country of Ireland, Katie Taylor could train and spar, but she, like many other female fighters, were banned from competing. Jane Couch, who became the first female champion in UK history, also trained in secret in the early 90s. When word got out, things got ugly. You'd read articles in the papers saying, she must be a lesbian, she must be this, she must be that, she's a freak, Couch said. You become labeled with this horrible label just because you want to take part in a man's sport. Taylor told CNN, I used to have to pretend I was a boy to get into these competitions. I used to have my hair up in my headgear, and I used to be known as K. Taylor. So when I took the headgear off at the end of the fight and everyone realized I was a girl, there was uproar. Couch, meanwhile, remained undeterred to change the law for the likes of Taylor and Serrano. It took her 3 years to get her day in court. She had a team working pro bono because, like her, they believed. In March 1998, Couch was successful in her claim for sexual discrimination against the British Boxing Board of Control. She had won the right to box professionally in the UK. It was a landmark ruling. 3 years later, in October 2001, Katie Taylor fought in the first officially sanctioned women's boxing match in Ireland. She was just 15 years old.
It became one of the biggest fights in boxing today, but what you witnessed was one of the greatest fights, I believe, in the history of Madison Square Garden. And both women deserve so much credit, and I think now, to be honest, is the night that we stop talking about women's and men's boxing, just boxing, because that was one of the best fights I've ever witnessed live.